All right, so let's jump into this topic.
Yeah.
Sourcing glass bongs from China.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are interested in this, but maybe a little apprehensive.
Right.
You know, you hear all these stories about
Yeah.
quality issues and lost shipments and just
Yeah.
not really knowing where to start.
Definitely a landscape where you need to
Right.
do some research.
That's why we're doing this deep dive today.
Yeah.
We're looking at an article
Okay.
written by a seasoned importer,
All right.
and he lays out a lot of good information.
Cool.
Really breaks it down
Yeah.
into some practical steps
Awesome.
to finding good suppliers
Okay.
and avoiding those pitfalls.
Yeah.
So the first thing the article talks about
Right.
is finding a top-tier supplier.
Okay.
But, you know, what does that actually mean?
Yeah. What does that mean?
Especially in a market like this,
Right.
where there's so many different players.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the author lays out 5 key factors:
Okay.
product range,
Okay.
shipping time.
Customization options,
Excellent.
after-sales support,
Mhm.
and kind of the big one,
Right.
trust.
Yeah,
All pretty important, I'd say,
I think so.
for any kind of business. But
Especially when you're dealing with something
right.
that's overseas and fragile
Yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah.
potentially
Right.
out of money.
Exactly. So let's dig into each one of those a little bit.
Okay, sounds great.
Starting with product range.
Okay.
Why is that so crucial in the Bong world?
Well, I think it's important for any business
Okay.
to have a variety of products
Sure.
to meet different needs,
Right.
and tastes, but especially with bongs,
Okay.
because trends change so fast.
Right. Yeah.
What's hot today
Yeah.
might be completely out of style
Yeah.
next month.
That's true. I've seen that happen.
Yeah, so if you're stuck
Yeah.
with a supplier who only has
Right.
a limited range,
Right.
you might end up with a lot of inventory.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
sell totally. So having a supplier with a wide range
You're right.
gives you that flexibility
Yeah, it's really important.
to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about shipping times?
Oh, yeah.
This is always a concern for me
Right.
when I'm importing anything,
It's a big one.
but especially something fragile
Mm-hmm.
like bongs,
Yeah.
because I don't want it to take
You don't want it.
like 3 months to get here.
Right. And then it's broken.
Yeah, or it's just out of style
Or it's the wrong season.
by the time it arrives.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So how does this factor into choosing a good supplier?
Well, you want to look for suppliers who have reliable shipping options
Sure.
and maybe even warehouses in your country.
Okay. That would speed things up.
Yeah, that can really cut down on the shipping times
Mm-hmm.
and also reduce the risk of damage.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because the less distance it has to travel,
Right.
the less likely it is to get broken.
Okay, so speed is key.
Speed is key, definitely.
All right, and then customization.
Okay.
I'm assuming this is particularly important.
I think it's important for
Yeah.
any business, really, especially if you're trying to build a brand.
Right.
But with bongs,
Yeah.
there's so much room for creativity.
Oh, yeah,
We
definitely.
can have different designs,
Yeah.
different colors.
Here's different sizes.
And so you want to find a supplier
Right.
who can work with you
Yeah.
to create something unique.
That represents your brand.
Exactly. Something that sets you apart.
Yeah, so it's not just about
Right.
getting a generic bomb.
It's about finding a partner
Yeah.
who can help you create something special.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So customization is key.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, after sales support.
Okay.
This is something that I think a lot of people
Yeah.
maybe overlook.
It can be easy to overwork.
Right, because you think,
Yeah.
well, if a bong breaks,
Just buy another
you
one.
just replace it.
Yeah. Right.
But it's more than that, right?
Right. It's definitely more than that.
So what else is involved in after sales support?
Well, what if a whole shipment arrives damaged?
Oh, yeah, that would be a nightmare.
Or what if there's a quality issue
Okay.
that affects multiple pieces?
Mm-hmm.
You need a supplier who's going to
Right.
work with you.
To resolve those problems.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's about having that
It's about peace of mind.
knowing that if something goes wrong,
Right.
you're not left high and dry.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And then finally, trust.
The big one.
This is huge, I think.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with
Yeah, especially overseas,
an overseas supplier.
where you might not
Yeah.
ever actually meet them in person.
Yeah. You're putting a lot of faith in
Right.
someone you've never met.
Yeah. You're trusting them with your money,
Yeah.
with your brand reputation.
With your customers.
Yeah.
So how do you even begin to assess
Well,
that trust factor?
I think it starts with communication.
Okay.
Are they responsive to your questions? Are they
Yeah.
transparent about their processes?
Okay.
Do they seem willing to
Yeah.
go the extra mile to make sure you're happy?
Okay, so you can get a sense of that.
Yeah, you can get a feel for it.
Just through those initial interactions.
Right. Even if it's just email or,
Yeah.
a video call.
That's true. It's kind of like dating.
It is a little bit like dating.
Right, you got to feel it out.
You got to see if there's a
You
connection.
got to see if there's good vibes.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so now that we've talked about those 5 factors,
Yeah.
the author actually gets into specifics
Okay, cool.
and recommends 5 specific suppliers.
5 suppliers.
This is where it gets interesting for me.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about this.
So the first one is Clover Glass.
Clover Glass.
Have you heard of them?
I have heard of them.
Okay, they seem to be a big player.
Yeah, they're pretty well known.
Yeah, the author highlights their vast product range, over 10,000 styles.
Wow, 10,000. That's a lot.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, how do you even choose
I know, right?
from 10,000?
But it gives you a lot of options.
It does. Yeah, you're not limited.
And they also have a U.S. warehouse,
Oh, that's huge.
which is a big plus for us
Yeah, definitely.
because it means faster shipping times and lower shipping costs.
And probably less breakage, too.
Yeah, probably fewer headaches overall.
Right.
So Clover Glass is all about selection and speed.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, the next one is Looka Glass.
Look at glass. Okay.
I've seen some of their stuff online.
Yeah, I think I have, too.
It seems pretty high-end.
Yeah, they have a very distinctive style.
Yeah, very artistic.
Very eye-catching.
Yeah, so what makes them stand out for importers?
Well, the author emphasizes their branding
Okay.
and aesthetics.
Uh-huh.
They have a really strong brand identity,
Yeah, I could see that.
which can be really valuable if you're trying to target
Okay.
a certain type of customer.
All right, so if your market is more,
Yeah, if you're going for that.
yeah,
High-end,
discerning smoker,
artistic vibe.
Luca might be a
Yeah,
good fit.
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, now what about Guanqi Isigo?
Guangxi Isigo.
This is one I'm not as familiar with.
I haven't heard of them either.
What's their deal?
Well, according to the article,
Okay.
they're all about consistent quality
Okay.
at a competitive price.
All right, so they're aiming for that.
Yeah, kind of that sweet spot
Yeah.
of affordability
Right.
and reliability.
Makes sense?
They also have flexible MOQs.
Okay, now for anyone who's not familiar with that term,
Sure.
MOQ stands for minimum order quantity, which
Wow.
basically means the smallest number of units
Uh-huh.
you can order at one time.
Yeah,
So having flexible MOQs can be really helpful.
right. Especially if you're
Especially,
a smaller business.
exactly.
You don't want to be stuck
Yeah, you don't want
with
to
a huge ore
have to commit to.
that you can't move.
So Guangxi Esigo might be a good option
Yeah,
for someone just starting out
sounds like a good option.
who wants to test the waters
Uh-huh.
before committing to a larger order.
Makes sense.
All right, so we've got Clover Glass for selection,
Yeah.
Luca for branding,
Uh-huh.
and Guangxi Esigo for affordability.
Oh, okay.
What about HF Glass?
HF Glass are
It's their specialty.
they're all about premium craftsmanship.
Okay, so higher quality.
Yeah, top-notch quality.
Right.
They use really high-quality materials,
Okay,
and they have a lot of attention to detail.
gotcha.
So their pieces are really well made.
So they're targeting a customer
Yeah, someone who's willing to
who appreciates quality
pay a little bit more.
and is willing to pay for it.
Exactly.
All right, so HF Glass is for the connoisseur.
Yeah, for the discerning smoker.
Okay, and then finally, Pyramids Arts Glass.
Pyramids Arts Glass. Okay.
What makes them unique?
They also focus on unique pieces,
Okay.
but what really sets them apart is their packaging.
Oh.
They're known for having really good packaging,
Okay.
which is crucial when you're shipping
Oh, yeah.
fragile glass products.
That's a good point because
Yeah, you don't want to get
a broken bong is useless.
Exactly. A broken bong is not good for anyone.
So they've figured out how to...
You've really mastered the art
Yeah.
of packaging and shipping.
Okay, so Pyramids is all about protecting your investment.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
All right, so we've got 5 very different suppliers,
Yeah,
each with their own strengths.
a lot of options.
It seems overwhelming.
It can be, yeah.
So how do you actually choose
That's a good question.
which one is right for you?
Right. How do you narrow it down?
And then how do you actually get started?
Yeah.
Like, how do you make that initial contact
Right.
and start that conversation?
That good question.
We'll get into that in part 2.
Okay, stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everybody.
I'm ready to dig even deeper into this.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, we're talking about all these factors for choosing a good supplier.
Yeah.
And the article actually mentions a few more
Okay, a few more.
that go beyond those initial 5.
Right.
For example, the importance of stable inventory.
Oh, yeah, stable inventory. That's a big one.
Why is that so crucial when you're importing?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
You've got this awesome marketing campaign.
Okay.
You're about to launch your new product line.
Yeah.
And suddenly your supplier's out of stock.
Oh, that would be a nightmare.
Right, that can really mess things up.
Yeah, that could throw a wrench in the whole operation.
Exactly.
So how do you assess inventory stability?
Well, I think it's important to ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to dig deeper.
Like what kind of questions?
Like, how do they manage their inventory?
Okay.
What's their production capacity like?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any seasonal fluctuations?
That could affect availability.
Exactly. Like Chinese New Year.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Everything shuts down for weeks.
So you got to plan around that.
You got to be prepared.
All right, so stable inventory is key.
Definitely.
What else did the author mention?
The article also talks about professional packaging.
Okay, packaging.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a no-brainer.
It might seem obvious.
But it's really important.
Yeah, why is it so crucial?
Well, think about the journey those bonds take
Okay.
from the factory in China
Yeah.
to a warehouse,
Uh-huh.
onto a truck,
Okay.
maybe even a plane,
Right.
and then finally to your customer's doorstep.
Yeah, that's a lot of handling.
It's a long journey.
And a lot of potential for damage.
Exactly. So if the packaging's not good,
You're going to end up with broken pieces.
yeah, and unhappy customers.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
All right, so professional packaging is essential.
Definitely.
Any other hidden gems we should be aware of?
Oh, yeah, there's another one. Customs clearance.
Ugh, customs.
I know, it's a headache.
But it's a necessary evil.
It is, unfortunately.
So how do you make sure your supplier is up to speed on all that stuff? Well, you got to ask them about it.
Okay.
Ask about their experience exporting to your country.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a dedicated logistics team
Hi.
that handles customs?
Mm-hmm.
Have they had any issues with customs in the past?
Gotcha. So you're basically looking for a supplier who not only makes good bongs,
Right.
but also understands how to get them to you
Smoothly and legally.
without any hiccups.
Exactly.
All right. I'm feeling a little bit better
Good.
about navigating the customs maze.
Yeah, it's not as scary as it sounds.
As long as you've got the right supplier.
Right.
Now, the article also stresses the importance
Okay.
of requesting samples
Oh, yeah, samples are key.
before you place a large order.
Definitely.
That seems obvious, but why is it so crucial?
Well, with bongs,
Yeah.
there's a certain level of craftsmanship you
Mm.
can't really get from pictures.
Right. You guys see it from person.
You got to hold it in your hand,
Yeah.
feel the weight of the glass,
Uh-huh.
see how the light plays through it.
So it's more than just checking for defects.
It's about experiencing the product,
Well, yeah.
making sure it meets your standards.
And ultimately the expectations of your customers.
Exactly.
And the author also points out that samples
Right.
give you a chance to assess the packaging
Yeah, good.
and the shipping practices.
Yeah. You can see how they handle
Yeah.
the delicate process of shipping glass.
So if the sample arrives broken, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Maybe not a good sign
Probably not a good sign.
that they'll be able to handle
Right.
a larger order.
Yeah,
Okay, so samples are a must.
definitely.
Now, we've talked a lot about
Right.
the practical aspects
Yeah.
of sourcing from China,
And nuts and bolts.
the nuts and bolts.
Uh-huh.
But there's another layer to this
Okay.
that I think we need to address.
Yeah, what's that?
The cultural aspect.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Because we're dealing with people
Right. It's not just about
from a different culture.
products and transactions.
It's about relationships.
And those cultural differences
Yeah.
can really make or break a deal.
They can definitely impact communication.
So how do we navigate those differences?
That's what we're going to talk about in part 3.
All right, stay tuned.
Oh.
So we're back for part 3,
All right.
and we're diving into the cultural side
Yeah.
of sourcing bongs from China.
Okay.
It's one thing to
Right.
understand the logistics
Yeah.
and the business side of things.
And nuts and bolts.
Right, but when you're dealing with
Yeah.
another culture,
Mm-hmm.
things can get a little tricky.
They can, definitely.
So how do we bridge that cultural gap?
Well, I think it starts with just a little bit of research.
Yep.
Take some time to learn about
Yeah.
Chinese business customs
Okay.
and etiquette.
Like what kind of things?
Like, for example,
Yeah.
using formal titles,
Okay.
being mindful of personal space,
Uh-huh.
avoiding overly direct language,
You're right.
things that might seem small to us, but can actually make a big difference.
Okay. So it's about showing respect
Exactly.
and demonstrating that you've taken the time
Right.
to understand their culture.
Yeah.
All right. The article also talks about
Okay.
the importance of patience
Oh, yeah. Patience is key.
when working with Chinese suppliers.
It's essential.
Why is that?
Ooh,
Yeah.
well, Things just move at a different pace sometimes
Okay.
in China. Decision-making processes might take a little bit longer.
Right.
Responses to email.
Might not be immediate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might not hear back right away.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed.
Yeah, it can be frustrating.
Especially
if you're used to.
if you're coming from a culture
Right.
where things move really fast.
Yeah, where you expect instant responses.
But it's about managing those expectations.
Exactly. You got to adjust your mindset a little bit.
And understanding that things might not always happen on our timeline. Okay, now let's talk about verifying a supplier's legitimacy.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Because unfortunately, there are scams out there.
There are always bad actors.
So how do we protect ourselves?
Well, first of all, verify their business registration.
Okay.
Can you find their company information on official websites?
Right.
Business directories.
Make sure they're a legitimate company.
Exactly.
Okay. What else?
Ask for references.
Okay.
Talk to other importers who've worked with them.
Get some feedback.
Yeah, see what their experience has been.
Okay, and don't be afraid to do a little Google sleuthing.
Right. Check out online reviews.
Look for any red flags.
See what people are saying.
Okay, so do your homework.
Do your homework, yeah.
All right, so let's say we've done our due diligence.
Okay.
We've found a supplier.
Yeah.
That seems legit.
They check out.
They've got good references.
Okay.
How do we make that initial contact?
Well, keep it professional, but don't be afraid to show a little personality.
Yeah.
Chinese business culture really values relationships. So a little bit of warmth can go a long way.
So find that balance between professional and personal.
Yeah.
Okay, and be prepared to negotiate.
Oh, yeah. Negotiation is...
This is my favorite part.
Part of the game.
I love a good haggle.
Yeah, you got...
I'm ready to channel my inner market shopper.
Yeah, channel your inner haggler.
All right, so this has been an amazing deep dive.
It has been fun.
We've learned so much about sourcing bongs from China.
A lot of information.
It's a complex process.
It is.
But it's definitely doable.
It's definitely doable.
As long as you do your research.
Right.
You build those relationships.
And you're patient.
And you're patient.
Yeah.
You know what I think is really interesting is how much of this applies to importing in general.
It's not just about bongs.
Not just bongs.
It's about
importing anything.
From anywhere.
Exactly.
The due diligence, the relationship building.
The cultural awareness.
All those skills are transferable.
They're valuable skills.
So we encourage you to keep learning.
Keep exploring.
Keep researching.
And most importantly, don't be afraid to get started.
Dive in.
Dive in.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
See you next time.